Hello everyone, it's Imported Socks. I've never spoken honestly about my political views here, and given the nature of what I used to post on this channel and the events of this morning, I felt like it would be appropriate for me to talk about myself just a little bit, and maybe try to offer some words of encouragement, even if they're coming from a place of fear. This might take a while to get through, but because I'm writing this all as a first draft, bear with me here. The only reason that I started using this account was because I wanted to reserve the username that I'd been using on Reddit. I was about 15 at the time, and I'd been posting a lot of stuff on the 2B2T subreddit as I'd gotten into playing it over the summer of 2016. Now, I'm sure for many of you, 2B2T needs no introduction, but for those who are unaware, 2B2T is a Minecraft anarchy server which is essentially unlimited in its free speech. Ideologies like white supremacy, misogyny, and eugenics were seen as very normal and accepted things to talk about, whether or not you were on Reddit or the server itself. What I noticed during those initial months of being steeped in that culture of radical hatred was how little of it I actually believed in. When I saw someone wave a Nazi flag, the idea of a Roman salute seemed more like a joke than a serious gesture of support. When I saw people treating women as if they were trash compared to the weakest of men, I just went along with it. Day after day, as I heard people say ignorant, evil things about anyone that was non-white, I just assumed that it didn't have any real bearing on anything in the world, because how could it? When Trump won in 2016, these ideologies became empowered in a way that they hadn't been in decades. This whole idea of triggering the SJWs and being edgy and evil just for the aesthetic of it became wildly popular. And let me tell you, you don't know you're in an echo chamber like that until you first start to get out of it. I held on to this idea that while I was saying these things and participating in these groups that made me believe these things, I was somehow above it all because I never truly internalized any of it. And that made me better than them, right? Well, the truth is it didn't, and it doesn't. I wasn't just following orders, I was acting of my own free will. Whether or not I believed it, I was contributing to an explicitly hateful and evil culture that I detest to this day. And I think it would be insincere of me to fail to acknowledge that part of my past here. So, now you might be thinking, what the hell does any of this have to do with the election? Just stay with me here. I've had food poisoning for the past 24 hours, so basically all I've done is stay on my couch, watching the news, and reading through everything as it comes in. And I have one major takeaway from it all, and that is that the sense of irresponsibility that I had for myself seems to be a sense that millions of Americans have. Tangentially speaking, from having watched some of Kai Cenat's streams lately, I notice how Kai tends to hang out with people that are very outspoken supporters of Donald Trump, and how he's got millions of fans that are just casually absorbing that. He never pushes back on Trump supporters or even deeply questions why they would tout their support everywhere. He just accepts them. And I don't think Kai is a hateful person like that at all. But I find it hard not to draw a parallel between us when it comes to how we interact with politics. As someone once said, if you're in a parade and someone has a Nazi flag but isn't being forced to leave, you're in a Nazi parade. So if you find that comparison a bit extreme, I really don't care at this point. You already won electorally. I'm just practicing my First Amendment rights. So, with all that said, here's those words of encouragement that I did promise you. Despite what's happened, the world is full of good, decent people. People who are capable of radical love. As a Christian, I find that people often misinterpret the parable of the Good Samaritan as any old act of kindness. In fact, it was a story about an enemy helping their enemy, even though they had no reason to do so. And in the face of this unprecedented force of hatred, I believe that sort of love is going to be our only hope. So thank you all for watching. I've been Imported Socks, and please, take care of yourself.